Joining us now from the Munk School of Global Affairs is international relations expert Oral Braun. Oral, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
How significant is this for the NATO alliance?
It does change the strategic picture. Finland has an 800-mile-plus border with Russia. It is a well-armed country that has a surge potential that is very significant. They had been neutral. They were driven into the arms of NATO by Russia's actions. It's ironic. Vladimir Putin at the beginning of the war said that he wanted to reverse NATO enlargement. In fact, now he has prompted further enlargement.
How do you see this impacting the war in Ukraine?
It won't do it directly because Finland already is helping Ukraine, as is Sweden. But if I was sitting in the Kremlin and I was looking at military strategy, this would be a disaster. Because now the contact points with NATO have almost doubled. And it is not only Finland. Sweden, also a country that had been neutral, had applied and is likely to get in fairly soon once they overcome Turkish and Hungarian objections. And you have a powerful set of militaries in the north that now are going to be part of NATO. It will make it much more difficult for NATO to refuse Ukraine down the line in terms of membership in the alliance. And so Russia, which always claims that it's on the defensive, by this aggression in Ukraine, has altered the strategic picture very much against its own interests. The only way now for Vladimir Putin to get out of this would be to actually win in Ukraine. And perhaps this is his remaining fantasy, that somehow the West will fall apart, Ukraine will tire of conflict, the leadership will flee, and he will still march in Kiev. Well, short of that, this has been little short of a catastrophic miscalculation.
How do you think the Russians are going to react to this? Do you think there will be a reaction on the battlefield in Ukraine?
On the battlefield, they already have huge morale problems. I think the bigger issue is what happens inside Russia. And Vladimir Putin controls television. He controls the newspapers. So news are filtered. Images are altered. There's a tendency in any conflict to rally around the flag. So for the time being, he still has support. But as the losses mount in Ukraine, if Ukraine does not collapse, if Ukraine engages in a successful counteroffensive and takes back more territory, particularly cuts that land route that Russia has created from the Donbass to Crimea, then eventually it will filter back to the population. And historically, whenever Russia lost a war or was perceived to lose a war, there were monumental changes.
Thanks so much for joining us, Professor.
Thank you for having me on.